teaching for the Parks and Recreation Center at Udall and Randolph for the city. And I work with 2 to 5 year olds for arts and crafts, and I also do pottery for older, like 17 year olds. I really enjoy what I do, and it's just a great center. They have so many things to offer. I'm going to show you how to do 2 different animals made out of recycled boxes. And the first one I did was a lion, and then I've made more. This was a Jello box, this is a butter box, and I have this to show you so that you can see. I make patterns, and so what I do is I take the box and I trace and turn and trace and turn until I get the whole thing done, and then I start to glue it together. So I've got to have patterns, and then the end here I make a pattern where I can slip it in here and slip it in there so that none of the printing on the boxes shows. So that's how I do these, and it just depends upon the size of the box. So I'll get this out of the way. This lion right here is a butter box, and I left one of the legs not on there so that you can see what I do. So I'm going to go ahead and put some tacky glue. Whoops. Just about put his legs going the wrong direction. And then I rub this with my hands because it just kind of helps to spread the glue out so I don't have little lumps and bumps there. So this one right here now is completed. He's got 2 back legs, 2 front legs, and the head is at an angle, and then the tail sticks out there. These are my patterns, so you can see that this fits in the center there, and then I make larger pieces so that I can do the mane of the tiger or the lion. So this one right here, which is going to be put on next. So I have 3 layers right here. This one I cut with little triangle pieces, and this one I decided to put beads around it instead. So I try to change up everything that I do so that you don't think you have to copy exactly what I'm doing. I kind of like you to be creative. So now I have the back and the front legs right here. These are my pattern pieces, and then I keep the pattern separate, and then I cut another one so that I actually have the paper on the front and the back. So that's how I got this one. Now here's my lion, and what I'm going to do is, it doesn't matter whether I do the paper or the box, but I just put the glue across there and then turn it. Put the glue again. And don't worry if it looks like it's going to fall off, because I actually put rubber bands on this to keep all of the pieces so that they're not going to be coming loose. And then I use rubber bands. And I don't leave them on for long, but it just helps to kind of keep everything tight and up against the box that I'm using. Now the last piece that I have is the back side. So I'm going to put glue right here, and I'm going to put glue on this flap. And I slide that down that side of there. And I need one more rubber band. And I'm going to go ahead and go from the back to the front. And this just keeps all the pieces kind of tight up against the box. And eventually I take those off like you see this one has none of those. Now, I made the head in advance for this one. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the rubber band out of the way, and I'm going to set it up here, and I'm going to mark it with my pen so I know where to put the glue. Now, instead of leaving it set like this because it's going to fall off, I'm just going to lay it on its side like this. I'm going to slide the head back onto here, and I'm going to put a rubber band from the front to the back of the line, and that's going to keep it in place so that it's not falling over. So that's the completion of my lion. And then I wanted to show you, here's my patterns, the paper patterns that I do. This is the butter box right here. This is the butter box right here. And I've got side 1, 2, 3, and 4, top and bottom. And you saw how that I put that on there. So I'm going to get this out of the way. And these are my monkeys. And what I've done with the monkeys is, this one was the first one that I had done. And I just put dark black around the edges, the feet, the hands, so that they kind of stand out. And this one right here, I decided instead of making 2 separate monkeys, I decided to make like a mother and a baby. So I actually slit the box and cut like a little triangular wedge out of here, bent it over, and so now the monkey is like reaching around with her arms, and then I made the baby separate and I laid it down there. And so what I've done with this now is the arms are holding it in, the tail of the monkey wraps around like this, and I put an extra weight back here because the box was too light and it would tip forward, but it stands up really well this way. So what I do is the same thing as I did before with the lion. I glue one edge at a time, put the paper down, then I glue another edge. I just wrap from one side to the next, like I've got right here, and I'm just going to show you with this. Put the box on it, and then just continue to wrap it all the way around. So you're covering the box so that you're not seeing the print, the butter box print, or anything else. And I've actually laid it out like I showed you with my pattern here and measured it so that I'm not getting a surprise. Okay. There and there, and then, so this is what I do with all of my animals that I make, is I make the patterns so that I have them available, and then I just rub on these to make sure that where the glue is, it kind of spreads out. And then this last piece right here, I'll glue up here, and I'll glue the flap down. And just slide that in there. And the same thing with this. And you have to measure the box, because if you don't, it's not going to fit. So this is going to be ready for next week for the tiger. So this body is all set to go. And I'll put rubber bands around it to keep it so that it's going to stay attached where I want it to be. Going to set it off to the side, and it's going to be ready for next week. Okay. thank you for visiting me this morning. And here's my little monkey that I brought with me so that you can kind of see. I was really surprised with the monkeys. They have so many different colors. So like this one that I did, it has a lot of gray, but it also has golds and whites and blacks, and so I did a lot of blending with it. And then the baby, the same thing. I just dipped the paintbrush in one color and kind of streaked it. I kind of watched the way it went, because if you petted like a dog or a cat, the fur goes a certain way. So I tried to make sure that like the back was, if you petted him, it would come down. The ears comes back. So you've got to kind of think about how the hair is. You can't just paint in different directions, because it's not going to look right. Before I leave you, I wanted to tell you again how important the Parks and Recreation Department here in Tucson is for the whole community. I enjoy the classes that are offered. There's many, many friends that I've made when I've taken classes, and I can't say enough positives about it. I've never had a bad experience, and I'm always learning more and more. It helps me to kind of investigate what I'm trying to teach for you. And so my learning never stops. I have been a teacher for 47 years, and I never stop learning. And the Parks and Recreation Department here at Udall and Randolph have really helped me to get better at teaching and researching, so that I'm learning, not just teaching, I'm learning myself. And that makes me really happy, because I'm always going to be a learner. I know that. And this whole department helps me with that.